Okay, so you have an intercom instance running somewhere, and you would now like to control the calls using your Elgato Stream Deck. Then for that we have developed a BitFocus companion module so that you can do that. To get started, you're gonna have to install the BitFocus companion. We have a link to that in the guide. And once you have that installed and running, you should see something like this. This BitFocus companion will then host a website and apps, as you can see behind, hosted on localhost. You can specify the port you want it on, and you can also specify here if you have a local version of a module that you would like. You can specify the parent folder right here. So in my case, /Lucas/intercom. Once you have that set up, you just launch the GUI and you come to this. So the first step here is, I'm just going to remove this one, is to add the Eyevinn Intercom module to the connections here. To do that, we can search here, Eyevinn Intercom. We add it, give it a few seconds. We specify which port we want it to run on, save that. And now we have the Eyevinn Intercom module running here. If you then go to surfaces, here you should be able to see if you have any Stream Decks connected. You can also create an emulator, which I did here, so that you can test this out. If you go to the buttons page, here you might have an empty page or see some predefined buttons, but we will configure this together in the demo. If you don't want to do any of that, you can simply import a config, which we have available in the repo under configs. So here I go to the companion module, configs, and here I have a default configuration file. I'm going to import it. Here we get a little welcome wizard. We can ignore that one for now. And you will now come to, if you go back to the buttons page, you will see our default layout here. You do not have to use this. But once we have that going, we can start using this. So I have my intercom running here. Let's start the emulator. Well, in fact, we don't have any, so let's create one. Let's call it test. Now we go to the emulator, and we can see here, this is emulating our Elgato Stream Deck. Now in our intercom, let's join some calls. Let's join this line right here. Let's join another one. Let's take this one. So we've now joined 2 calls. We can control this obviously here from the web. But now let's connect to our companion module. We click here. We specify where the companion module is running. In this case, it's running locally. We specify the port. We specified in the when we started the module, and now we connect. And now you can see the Elgato Stream Deck or the emulator's UI updates, and you can control the calls from the emulator directly. So here we have the camera 1 line. I'm gonna mute, unmute. We can deafen or undeafen. We have a push to talk button. You can use the global mute. This will unmute all calls or mute all calls. We have a status button, this indicating if we're connected or not. If we leave a call, the Stream Deck updates and disables all the buttons that aren't connected to a call. Let's rejoin that call. And you see the Stream Deck updates. So you can easily control the intercom through a Stream Deck. You can minimize the window, not have it in focus. It will work as well. As you can see, it updated. So there are two different ways of using the controls. This is the first way I just showed you, where you click on buttons that are specific to each call. So the first row will always be the first calls, call at index 1, second row, the second call, and so on. So these are index specific button controls. There's another way of controlling the buttons, and that is, I'm going to switch page here, is holding down the call button. So in this case, it's call 1. The name is updated here to match the line. So if you hold this down, then you can press these X buttons, as we call them. So you hold it down, and then you can control this call using the X buttons, push to talk, and so on. If you hold in call 2, then these buttons will allow you to control the second call. So these are the two different ways of controlling your intercom through the Stream Deck. Now that we've looked at this, let's go and create our own page, our own layout. So we go here to surfaces. I'm just gonna bring this back up. Let's create a new page. Let's call it Super Demo. And now let's configure it. So what we want to do here is we want to go to presets, select our preset here, and here we have all the buttons that are available to us. So here, the call 1 buttons are the buttons for the first call, right? It's index based. So I want my mute here, I want my deafen here, and my push to talk here. So these will control the first call we're in. Now on the second row, I want to control call 2 and my push to talk. So these buttons are now for the second call in our line, in our intercom. Now let's add some X buttons. I want to push to talk here, mute, deafen, and then I want to control call 3, not 1 and 2 since we already have the buttons here. Call 3, call 4, call 5, right here. So this is my new layout. Let's try it out. Let's go back to the emulator. Let's make this a bit smaller. And we go navigate to our page. This one. So let's try out our buttons. So this is push to talk for the first call, mute, unmute, deafen. Let's try the X buttons. Well, for that we need an extra call, right? Because these control call 3, 4, 5. So let's add a call. Let's go into program. Let's join that one. Now if I hold down program, I can then deafen, undeafen, and use the controls here. This is a program line, so I can only do that. Let's join another call, one with a long name. Now if I hold in this one, I can control this call. If we leave a call, the UI updates. So now that we've created our own page, final thing we can do if we want is to export the configuration. So you can export it, save it, and you can now share it with others if you want to share your layout. You can find more documentation in the README of the repo. There should be a link to a user guide as well. And for the more advanced users, if you don't want to use our presets, which are these predefined buttons, you can create your own buttons using our actions. All of these are available here. Decrease volume, increase volume, and so on. And you can create your own buttons. And we have some feedbacks as well to update the state. Good luck.